Hi, my name is Cara and I am a psychology major in Harper College. So when I first came to Binghamton, I was actually planning to be an integrative neuroscience major. And a lot of people thought that this is a little bit strange because I never actually planned to be pre-med, and that major is very popular for pre-meds. However, I just had kind of been misguided by some of my high school teachers who pretty much made me think that if my major wasn't a STEM major, then it wasn't really worth much. So in my first semester, I took Intro to Chemistry along with some other courses, and being an intro chem kind of made me realize that this wasn't the path I wanted to follow. I really loved all of the psychology classes, and it wasn't my strength to take chemistry, physics, biology, all of those things, and they weren't really my interest either. So I realized my major would still have plenty of value, even if it didn't have organic chemistry attached. So with that in mind, I became a psychology major. The number one resource I've used in planning my major and planning out my courses semester by semester has been the psychology major checklist. This was made by the advisor for psychology majors, and it is super clear and easy to follow. So when I've been planning, I haven't really even gone to Harper advising because I came in with over 30 credits, so a lot of my gen eds were done. And your major advisor is going to be the person who gives you advice about your major. So I went about utilizing it and just checking off what I needed and then seeing what I had to plan for in the future. As far as my professors for psychology, I am still actually pretty young in my major. I am a sophomore, so I haven't met a ton of psychology professors yet, but I have developed a pretty good rapport with one professor. I'm pretty close with Professor Morrissey. He was my professor for statistical analysis for psych majors, evolutionary psychology, and I'm currently in his research methods course. I was a teaching assistant for him in the fall of 2013 for statistical analysis and design, and he's a really great professor. He's very laid back, very straightforward, and he really wants students to succeed, so he's been able to provide a lot of great advice. I also haven't hit the seminar classes yet, which are the 400 levels, and those are very small. There are only about 20 students per class, so I'm sure I'll get to make a lot of great connections when I get there. As far as my 4-year plan, I think I've gone about my psychology major in a bit of an unconventional way. So I came in with AP Psychology credit, so I did not have to take Psych 111. So in my first semester, I took a 200-level psych elective, which you need 2 of to graduate. In the spring of my freshman year, I ended up taking my statistics class for psych, and I also took evolutionary psychology. In the fall of my sophomore year, I took another elective, which honestly was just kind of for fun. You don't need that many to graduate as a psych major. But I took drugs and behavior with Dr. Listman, and I really liked it. And then this spring of my sophomore year, I am taking research methods and my first experimental course, and I'm taking learning with Dr. Bishop. In the fall of my junior year, I plan to take 2 of my experimental courses and finish the experimental requirements, and then I plan to take 1 400-level course each semester until I graduate, so spring of junior year and both senior year semesters. I purposely did this to kind of spread out the psych requirements because I tend to think those are my most time-consuming courses. They have a lot of reading, and I like to really read the textbook outline. That's how I learn, so I think it's easiest for me to be successful when those courses aren't bunched up so much. And I would say the most challenging thing about planning my 4-year schedule was, oddly enough, having as many choices as I did. For some majors like electrical engineering, nursing, you have a very set schedule. Every semester you know exactly what you need to take. For psych, while you know what your requirements are, the order you take them in, other than taking some of the intro courses like intro psych, stats, and research methods, which are prereqs for upper level courses, what order you take your experimentals in and all that sort of stuff is really up to you. So every semester when the schedule came out, I always thought I had a plan for what I was going to do, and it ended up changing depending on what times the courses were, how it jived with my 3 minors. So I would say that was the most challenging part. However, I would say that I've had a lot of support as a psych major. Our advisor, Dr. Ignari, is extremely helpful and receptive to students. So if you're thinking about being a psychology major, I've honestly loved it so far, and no matter what anyone tells you, it's definitely a great major.